Alright, at this point, you will need better pictures. There's no doubt about it. So we're going to have to focus in on things like the dragonfly's head, for example. And then we'll move on to variations in parts of the body. So the head here, you can see it's broken up into a few chunks, and I'm gonna just extrapolate off this idea. I'm not gonna totally use it. I'm just gonna extrapolate from it. Um, so it's broken up into a few chunks, and you can see they're all variations of the same theme. So there's the eyes, and it's got broken up in a couple chunks, and then down below there's this little tiny mouth, and the mouth is unseen because it folds up into the actual head. So it only unleashes it when it starts eating. So you can kind of see it right there a little bit. So it's actually part of that form. We're not going to pull that out. We're just going to kind of look at making these forms a little bit here in ZBrush. Okay, so let's switch back over to ZBrush where we have ours. Now, how it works is we have to start making some changes here as far as taking the standard brush, and we're going to start sculpting. Now I need to mirror this, so we got to find the symmetry point. In this case I know the symmetry point's Z because back in Maya it was Z. Okay, so paying close attention to how you develop the character is very important because it'll help you later on in ZBrush. Some things I noticed is the eyes are a little bit bigger and more flat, so those are things that we can fix here. There is a tool called the inflate tool, and you can see there's a great deal of tools, and they're in alphabetical order. So if I just know inflate, I can go to I, and there's inflate. Okay. In this case, I can go in here and make sure my intensity is just a little bit like that, and what I can do is inflate this eye up a little bit and make it more round. I'm just generally touching this a little bit on the model. And because I put that edge loop in there, notice it can't crawl outside that edge loop. Now you can see the importance of that. Another tool that we're going to be using all the time is the move tool. Okay, so the move tool allows you to take the overall, remove it, and we can kind of shape this up a little bit. And then one thing you got to realize is when you change something down at the lower level, let's say I go down to 1 and I move this whole form down. When I go back up, it's a very smooth transition. Okay, so just know that. That's a very good trick, and we're going to be using it all the time throughout this entire chapter. Now I'm going to just take the standard brush, which is used a lot, and I'm going to use the subtract method on here. And there's this stroke called the lazy mouse. This is for people that have a little bit of shake in their drawing ability, and it just produces very smooth forms, or at least the division of forms. Okay, so here's what we can do. We can Z sub across here, just like that, and cut into this a little bit. And I'm just going to kind of sketch in an idea of how I want these forms to kind of interact together. And remember there is a division here. And I got to be very careful upon how this all functions. So there's a mouth area. So I'm just going to kind of draw in what I think the mouth should be like. Then I can look over once in a while at the reference. Okay, so it looks like there's a couple divisions. There's a big eye. Same variation here. Okay. But it doesn't show anything for the back of the head, so I'm just going to kind of wing it. So many bug jokes. Hopefully those people are just the ones that know bad teacher puns are going, oh, jeez. Typical teacher. Okay, that's good. I like that. That looks pretty neat. Then I'm just going to draw a little bit around here, kind of separating these forms a little bit. And that's what I'm going to do throughout the whole body, is start taking these and just dividing them up a little bit using a standard brush. And then when I get stuck, I'm going to go Dragonfly mid section. And this is where it helps to start looking up the anatomical term for the midsection of a dragonfly, because without knowing the anatomy, like I do not know the anatomy of a dragonfly, you will not be able to find the right thing. So in most cases you can do this, and the area that I'm looking for is the dragonfly thorax. Oops. And you can see this is broken up into several little chunks, and these are all moved together. So we're going to kind of make something like that. Now here's where you can hide the other forms. If you hold shift and control, I can do that twice, and I can hide the wings. That way I don't interact with them. They're still there, they're just hid. There's other various ways we can do that. We can also put them on layers or subtools, but I find that I just kind of want to deal with just one solid tool, and then later on not worry about having to bond those together again. So I'm just going to kind of wing it a little bit more. There's some more. And I'm going to go around these legs. And I'm just separating this out. Notice my settings up here if you're having a hard time. There's Z sub 25. I've just used the defaults. You know, I don't go up there and change them every 2 seconds. And some of this is just, you know, falsifying it and making it more interesting. Just like that. And then I want to show this form with the actual polygon structure, so I can kind of go in here, and during points of intersection, that's when I'm using this tool. So I'm only doing these on the lines. It's very important, because when we go to the next level we can use this to our advantage. These edge loops come in handy. I'm just going to break this up a little bit and make it look interesting. Just like that, and break that up a little bit. Alright, now meet me in the next video where I teach you some more.